Hi, Carol Robbins from Alignment Rescue here. This is the first of a six-part video series on exercises that can increase and improve your balance. So let's talk about what balance is. I think a lot of people would define balance as the ability to stand on one leg without falling over. And certainly there's a component of balance in that skill, but it can be a little more complex than that. So I think of balance as the body's ability to right itself after being disturbed. So let's say, for example, you're jostled on a busy sidewalk or even during a sports activity. Or if you're walking along and you suddenly hit a patch of ground that is unexpectedly slippery. This happens a lot where I live because there might be a covering of snow hiding a little ice patch. And what happens when you hit that ice patch or that little patch of mud and your foot goes sliding out from under you? Sometimes you find your knee buckles, sometimes you fall forwards, sometimes backwards. So those elements they already exist in your gait. They're just being masked by the traction that a solid surface provides. So exposing those deficiencies helps improve our balance. So balance is really just a collection of skills, and often we don't realize when those skills are declining until we go to use them and suddenly we find it more difficult than it used to be. So the exercises that I'm going to be teaching you in these 6 video series, they might seem pretty simple. You might even look at them and say, like, they're so easy, how can they be effective? But here's why they're effective. If somebody gives you an exercise or even an exercise program designed for better balance, and you practice that program religiously once a day, say, that still can only add up to a very small proportion of your movement. So it doesn't really tip the scales in your favor. When we do these exercises that I'm going to show you in these videos, you are actually doing them when you're doing during the other activities you normally do during the day. So you can insert them, which means the potential volume of the time you practice these skills, then integrate them into your day. The body adapts to those things because the volume is so great. So they're really effective, even though they seem quite simple. The first exercise is we need a chair, and I would advise you to use a chair that you typically sit on most often. So that might be your office chair. If you're working from home, it might even be your kitchen or your dining room chair. Or it can be the chair that you use to relax in, such as your comfortable chair that you watch TV in the evenings. Okay, so I'll see you in a minute on the mat. Hi. So in this, I'm going to show you on my chair is just a folding chair because I don't have any kind of typical chairs anymore. I've replaced a lot of my chairs with stools, and you'll see why in a minute. Because a stool doesn't have any support other than what you're resting on. So if you're in a regular chair like a kitchen or a dining room chair, or you're a relaxing chair, you're typically resting on the structure. And that means that the muscles in your body that would normally hold you upright can just turn off. They're essentially not working at all. Now, that's not a problem because all our muscles need to rest sometimes, but we end up spending so much time in a chair that's a lot of time for those muscles to be resting. So this is one of those things where you don't really realize how weak your back muscles, which are considerable muscles. There's lots of layers of muscles on your back. And then, of course, the core, which people think of the core as the abdomen. The back sides in front of your body are all getting weaker as you sit. Okay, so how do we fix that? We still need to work. We still need to, be on our computers for a few hours a day, sometimes more. And here's the simple solution. You can simply, instead of resting on the chair, on the structure of the chair, you can just scoot forward a little bit and sit so that you have to work to sit. Your trunk muscles, your spinal muscles have to work, your abdomen has to work. It's not the same kind of work as doing a crunch or something. So it's not even something that you might think is tiring to begin with. But if your muscles are already weak, then they don't have that endurance. And you might find it surprising that after just a short amount of time, you'll find yourself slumping. And in that case, go back to the chair again. Let the chair support you for a while. After a little bit of rest, scoot forward and try it again. Over time, you will build the endurance to sit in your chair without the chair's assistance. And your upper body will be more balanced on your lower body, which is what your trunk muscles do. So, for example, if you're jostled or something and you're knocked off balance, it's the trunk muscles' job to kind of pull your upper body back over your lower body, or vice versa. So again, so simple. But the volume of being able to sit, the amount of time that we are already sitting, the potential volume of actual strengthening work that you can do there that it's not excessive. It's not lifting weights, it's not doing crunches or planks. But because it's easy, we can do so much more of it. And the volume of that can really add up to a lot of strength. I